Okay, so welcome to this video. And you know what? I am going to talk about the managing of the out of specification result. I mean, how one can deal with the out of specification result is going to be a topic of today's discussion. And very specifically, I am going to talk about in case if you do not identify the root cause behind the observed non-conformity, that is OOS, then how you are going to further deal with the OOS. See, generally in case of OOS, you will have a two-phased investigation. The phase one investigation is planned for identifying the laboratory error, and again it is further divided into phase 1A and phase 1B investigation. Phase 1A investigation is aimed to identify obvious lab error like calculation error, spillage of the sample, electronic data, stuff like that. Maybe peak integration in case of HPLC or GC analysis. The Lab 1B or the Phase 1B investigation is aimed to identify the assignable root cause that can be further deeper. For example, the failure of OS because of not having the proper extraction done during the sample preparation, or there may be some kind of dilution error which has happened during the sample preparation. It can be anything which is a little deep down, which is called as the identifying the assignable cause for the observed OOS result. This is about the phase 1 investigation. But if there is no root cause, there is no assignable cause identified during the laboratory investigation, then organization has begin the phase 2 investigation, wherein along with now lab, manufacturing team also has to begin their investigation to identify whether there is any concern during the manufacturing. But let us assume that there is no root cause identified even in phase 2 investigation as well. So no root cause identified at phase 1 and phase 2 investigation. In that situation, QA has to decide on to the fate of the batch based on to the something called as the additional laboratory testing. And this additional laboratory testing is the last chance, whether the batch will be rejected or the batch can be selected. So I'm going to explain you what are the various factors you need to consider during the additional testing where you do not have any root cause identified at phase 1 and phase 2 step of the investigation. Have you gone through such kind of phase? Yeah, just type in the chat box if you have gone through it. So let us begin with the additional laboratory testing, how one can conduct that. So first and foremost is you must use the sample for the additional testing from the same homogeneous material that has yielded OS result. Preferably if you let us say performing the assay result, right? And for that you need to crush the homogeneous, you need to make the homogeneous sample by crushing X amount of the tablets. And if that crushed sample is available, preferably that must be used. The second important point is if the integrity of the original sample is found contaminated or deteriorated or required quantity is not available, in that case you can conduct the resampling. You can do the resampling, and based on to the resampled sample, right, then you can perform the analysis. So in case of only sample contamination, or if the sample integrity is doubted, or if there is no sufficient sample available, then and then only resampling is allowed. Otherwise you must and should not do the resampling. The third important point, decide on the number of additional batches, additional testing. How many additional testing you want to conduct? Would you like to go for duplicate analysis, triplicate analysis? Number of analysis needs to be decided before starting the study, right? It is very important. And once you decide on to the number of testing, it is additional testing, it is always preferable the analyst who has originally reported the OS must also be part of your additional testing plan unless and until he is not available. And the second important point is what all the additional testing must get performed under the supervision of the expert, maybe supervisor, or if not, the head of the department. It is very important this point. The fourth important point is the preparation of the protocol. You need to execute the additional testing. You need to execute the additional testing under the supervision of the superior, plus this activity must be guided by the well approved protocol. No additional result retest beyond the number of testing defined in the protocol is allowed. You can't say that, originally I don't thought about this particular concern, but now let us understand that and go ahead with some additional testing. For example, if you decided three number of testing at the beginning, and for some reason, if there is some dilemma about the result, you cannot go with the fourth testing. That is the boundaries you must think and give a thought over before preparing the protocol. The result and observation observed shall be documented by, again, the expert and the superior and the head. Let us assume that there could be now the two scenarios. And what are those two important scenarios? All result passes, and there could be not all result passes. So let us understand what is the decision you are going to take if all result passes, and this is something very very critical. So in this case, who is going to take the result is nothing but the QA head, and based on to this condition, a batch fulfills this condition. If the QA head finds that whatever batch under investigation, if there is no complaint or deviation, etc., right, and that deviation, if there is no such deviation, that indicates that probably the QA can decide on to the releasing this batch. The second point is what? The production review do not reveal any aberration, deviation, or of unusual process variation confirming the OAS. So you must have gone to the entire in-process analysis, how this records is. And this is not only probably the record of this particular batch, but all the batches which are manufactured in the past. So the history of this product is also can be considered during taking the decision. Product or material history do not show much previous abnormal results. I think I just covered this point. Other related test results are consistent with passing retest results. So this is not in case if the assay is failing, is out of specification. But if you look at the another test parameters like dissolution, related substances, uniformity of the content, they are comfortably meeting the specification. In that case, QA can decide on releasing the batch. A review of stability study do not reveal decrease or drop in trend for the content such that the lower test result, right, passing result on extrapolation may show batch failure before material or product get expiration. So what is the trend analysis during the stability data? For example, if you are dealing with a dissolution, and if your dissolution is meeting onto this very border, right, let us say if your limit is not less than 75%, and if you are getting exactly 76% or 78%, now what is the trend you found during the stability analysis? At the 6 month, 12 month, 24 month, do we found the decrease in dissolution? If that is the case, then you are at the alarming situation. But if you do not found any decrease in the trend during the stability study, then probably that indicates that we will not have a out of specification result down the 24 month or 36 month or at the end of the shelf life. So this point is also very important. Understanding the trend of the particular test result and then taking the decision by extrapolating, visualizing what will happen if this is the today's result. Result of other relative tests passing comfortably for same batch. Example, satisfactory result of process validation, dissolution, EOD in case of failure of the assay result. I think this is quite important that the another results are very comfortable, and as you do not know the root cause for the first OS result, but as the repeat additional testing results are meeting specification comfortably, that means the batches can be released in the market. Review of forced degradation does not reveal sensitive character of material of the product. Now, this is also going to help you to understand, and take the decision, because the forced degradation data always gives an information about what can happen wrong during the storage of the period, still the shelf life. And if you do not have any such kind of observation noted in the forced degradation, for example, if there is a impurity failure in case of related substances analysis, and if that particular impurity which is out of specification is not a degradant which is proved based on the forced degradation data, then you have a confidence that okay, yes, even though the impurity was observed little bit onto the higher side, I mean out of the spec, but as the additional testing reveals that this impurity is within the spec, and as this impurity is now within the spec, and the forced degradation studies support that this impurity is not going to increase over the period of time, then you can release the batch in the market. Trend data shows that manufacturing process is robust. So evaluate your entire validation, all past data for this particular product, for all the batches if possible. If not, at least three past batches, and then understand what is the trend talks about. Whether you have any history in which this particular test has gone out of the spec or out of the trend. And if the trend is perfectly all right, then you have every possibility to release the batch into the market, provided all additional testing results are meeting the spec. Let us also understand the possibility of the second option in case if not all the additional testing results are within the spec. You have decided to conduct the testing onto the six sampling, I mean six times, and out of the six, for example, if the five results are within the spec, but one result is out of the spec. So what you are going to do and how you are going to handle the situation. Who is going to decide the fate of the batch? It is none other than the QA. QA has to decide the fate of the batch. The first could be what? The product specific variability is noted. Now the QA can understand, whether this particular product has any such kind of variability in the past or maybe in the same batch. So if there are variability noted into the product, the assay result is always moving from lower to higher, and many times there were always observed for this product, then QA can straight away go for the rejection of the batch. Previous step results were OOT or on the border. So for example, if you are having the assay result which is out of specification at the finished product level, but as a part of your in process check, you have also analyzed blend samples in case of tablets, and you found that the blend sample is for this particular batch is out of trend. You were meeting the blend assay comfortably for another batches, but somehow for this particular batch your assay blend assay result is on the lower side, though it meeting the specification, right? And that could be the reason your assay result at at the finished product level, the component stability is also found lower and gone OS. So if there is OOT for the previous steps, the QA can decide on to the rejection of the batch. Customer complaint regarding product performance. Do you have the customer complaint history for this product? And if you have some history which talks about, yes, this customer complaints relates to probably the dissolution failure, and as the dissolution is failed in this batch, there is a threat risk going ahead with the release of this batch, and you can decide on to the rejection of the batch based on this very important point. And the last but not the least, the other related test results are on the border or the OOT. As like for example, if your resolution is failing, right? But if you look at the content uniformity data, if you look at the assay, they are not the great result. They are on the lower side, and that could be the reason your resolution is far lower and getting away the specification. So I think QA has to take the comprehensive look at the data and then take very informed decision based on to all the signals, and then decide on to either releasing the batch or passing the batch. It is very tough time in case if no root cause is identified for the given OS. But these are the some guiding points on which the entire QA can act upon and come to a conclusion onto the batch rejection or the releasing of the batch. I hope you must have got an overview on how, in case if the root cause is not identified, the further OS can be handled and dealt with.